So if you've listened to any of my content out in the interwebs, you know that I love master plant diets. Master plant diets or dietas are my absolute favorite processes in merging with spirits, plant spirits, because they're so magical, they're so transformative. Anything is possible in the portal of committing to connecting deeply with a plant spirit. So a diet, if you're not familiar with the process, is very simply a marriage between human and plant spirit, and it's cultivated through a very disciplined process of eating no salt, no sugar, low oil, no spice, like really bland, clean food, having no sexual activity, as few distractions as possible, and spending a good chunk, if not all day, when we're in the portal of the dieta, connecting with our plant partner through tea, through steam baths, through regular baths, through the sense of smell. There's all kinds of ways that we connect with the plant, and it kind of depends on the plant that we're working with and what different forms and materials that we will use to bond and to learn and to just be so intimately connected. But there's two main types of master plant dietas, and there's pros and cons to both. So I'm going to share that today. So the two types are isolated and social. Isolated plant dietas, that's the old school way of going into the wilderness with your guide and unplugging from the world and making it your full-time job to diet the plant. And if you go down to the jungle and some of the traditional places, you're going to eat like next to nothing, just little very simple food, yucca and veggies, things like that, and drink the plant, depending on the plant you're working with, the toxicity levels, etc. You might drink the plant all day long. You might drink the plant just once or twice a day or even in a week. Some of the plants are so strong that we only consume them a couple times during the week, but we work with them all week long in a spiritual sense, and it's really profound. So the guide kind of determines how that looks, but the isolated diet, it's your full-time job. It's the only thing you're going to focus on for that period of time, and so they're typically 7 to 14 days. Some people do them much longer if they are apprentices, if they are on the path and really committed to unlocking some mystery school secrets, and other people do them longer if they are seeking really deep healing. There's something they really need help with, but the average is 7 to 14 days, somewhere in there. Social dietas, also called dieta suave, which means soft, which I don't think is appropriately named because they're not necessarily soft or easy, but they happen in the context of our lives. So a social diet follows the same protocol. You're going to eat that restricted food, minimize distractions like social media, but if you have to do it for your work, that's okay. Basically, handle the parts of your life that are necessary and take the rest that you have to offer, whatever that is, to connecting with the plant. At the minimum, you're going to drink your tea and work with your plant in the morning and the evening. But if you have the capacity to do more than that in the context of your busy lives, then that is fantastic too. The pros of isolated plant dietas is that no distractions. Deep work can be accomplished in a very short period of time because it's your only job. But the challenges are that they're harder to find because there's not that many of us that offer them, and it require you travel a great distance. Some happens here in the States, Peru, of course, and various other places do dietas, but it's often an effort, logistical effort, and it's also really intense. It's very challenging to have zero technology and zero connection with the outside world because most of us are so addicted to this, but that's part of the beauty of it, right? The pros and cons of the social dieta, I personally think they're harder because you have to be so multifaceted and maintain that connection and commitment to the relationship with the plant as well as the busy, crazy lives that we all live. And so it's a lot to take on, but it's very rewarding. And I think the best aspect of a social dieta is that the plant can work real time with the lives that we are living, reflecting the lessons that the plant is bringing in with the context of our everyday lives. And it's really powerful and really profound profound. So even though the social dietas in some ways are more challenging, they are just as rewarding, but in a different way. It's not the same connection with nature and time out from the world, but it is incredibly insightful in what the plant can show us about the lives that we are living. So social dietas, because it isn't our full-time job, we typically do those for a minimum of 2 weeks, ideally a month or longer, depending on what you're working with. And so it's a bit more of a commitment in a time constraint, but it's less expensive, less effort involved in logistics. So, I kind of just feel like whatever works with the lives that each of you are living. If you're called to do a dieta, social and isolated are both spectacular. It just depends on what fits in. Since most people are very busy and they don't have time to jet off to the jungle and take a week or two to diet in that way, you can fit it in the context of your lives. Our next plant medicine people retreat that involves a master plant diet is happening in January of 2024. So if you're called to do the isolated setting, we're doing this one in Costa Rica. It's going to be led by myself and an indigenous maestro who is a big ball of light. So we're going to feature jungle plants as well as North American master plants. And it's just a spectacular adventure involving ayahuasca too. But if you're called to a social diet, just please reach out to us at plantmedicinpeople.com. Happy to share the whole process and to help you find the perfect plant partner. Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving the plants. We hope to see you in a social or an isolated dieta very soon. Much love. Until next time.